beautiful, perfect day. There's fish all over the screen. We're really headed right into it right now.
So this really was just an excuse to go fishing, huh?
Yeah. Finding ways to get people on fish is like, dude, that's my happy place. This is like a really, really big part of who I am. And I've been, we're on. We're on. Yeah, neutral. Okay.
All right.
Keep that tension on there.
Yep.
Just don't let that go because it's a barbless. Yeah, you got a nice fish on there. Yeah, dude, you're about to catch a salmon.
You got him?
Almost. Right in.
Wow. Decent size.
Woo!
What's up, buddy? All right, buddy.
Nice job. We got a backfin. Okay, we're gonna release this one.
Great.
So we're gonna be extra careful.
Yep. Back in.
Yep, I'm gonna do it.
You got it.
Oh God.
All right, buddy.
Don't got any blood.
Another day.
We're in a good situation here. Just like that.
What's your story out here? How did you even find yourself out here? I mean, I'm so excited to be here, but what brought you out here?
Well, I was, I came out here like with my wife for like a date for one of our anniversaries. I think it was like maybe our 5th anniversary or something. And we were just like, whoa, this place is like super magical. And then like the next week I rebooked the spot and had the twins come out, and that's where we wrote By the Way I Forgive You, like the whole album out here. And we called out our wives and we played them the whole album like in the hotel room, and they were like crying, and they were like, this is gonna be a really big moment for you guys, I think, or whatever. So when this place that came up for sale, the 3 of us went in on it because we were like, let's go back there.
Yes,
let's just go back there like every time.
Us.
Yeah, so I just come here all the time now. And sitting out here looking at this piece of water, which is called the Saratoga Passage. And it made me want to get like my own boat. But I've always wanted to have a fishing boat because, you know, fishing is like my whole life. But like, you know, just seeing all the boats on the water, I just couldn't handle it. So when I got this one, they had a spot here at the marina, and this is just my jam now.
It's so cool.
I know, I love it. My kids always, they're not supposed to, but they always fish for little minnows and like weird rockfish in here. They'll get starfish off the side of the dock and play with them and put it back in the water.
Isn't it amazing how you sort of travel the whole world searching for something that really is right here, and it's so, as we were talking about, so uncomplicated in a lot of ways, you know?
It really is. And like when you live in Seattle your whole life, you got like your haunts, you know, you got your places, you got the Cascade Mountains, you know where the mountain pass is, you got the city and the waterfront, and you know, if you go a little south, you got like saltwater, and you can go to Alki, and you know your way around this area and the saltiness of this area. But like when you discover the San Juan Islands, it's like realizing there was a whole other world in your backyard that you didn't realize, you know, some Narnia shit. Because like, because you can't get to a lot of those islands without a boat. So as soon as I could get there, I was like, what is this place, you know?
There's just such a distinct feeling about this part of the world.
There really is,
I feel it every time I'm here.
And the ferries, like our actual Washington State ferries, that green color, they're so iconic, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a cool place to live and grow up.
Oh, well,
So this is it.
This is it, the Captain Fantastic.
Also, that's the font, like that's the actual font from the album. Yeah, so the color and everything.
God, he must have laughed when you showed him that.
Yeah, he laughed.
Did he go, you know what, I thought it would have been bigger.
No, yeah. Listen, let's like be clear, Elton's never gonna get on this boat.
He's never gonna get on this boat.
I mean, this is a dinghy on the Hercules.
This takes him to shore for lunch.
Yeah, exactly. This boat should be called the Brown Dirt Cowboy. So let's pile on here.
Oh, this is so cool. So you can just crash out in here, the whole thing?
Yeah, like we sleep in here, or the girls sleep in that aft bunk there.
So as a boat owner, you have to fucking work hard to maintain this shit, right? Like it's it ain't an apartment.
Well, these are like pretty easily maintainable because they're just like built out here for this place, for this weather. They're like meant to under the salt. It actually does a really good job for me. It's pretty self-contained. There's no teak or wood to polish or anything like that, you know. It's for fishing people.
It's for fishing people.
It is customized for a certain kind of water and a certain kind of thing. I mean, all of these navigation controls in here, you know, double satellite GPS systems and fish finders, and it's just like really dialed in.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm kind of falling in love with this whole vibe. But it's so peaceful and serene, and especially for someone like yourself that has this other very wonderful frequency you exist in, which is every day there's something new to write or some new experience to have, and there's a lot of really amazing outfits that you get to wear throughout the year in order to show up in a different way.
Yeah.
So to come to this must just be so just rewarding, and just to reconnect to the you before
exactly. It's
the you
major,
we got to know.
Yeah, well, and you know something, it's like, my kids always want to talk about that. They're like, they'll take my hair and mess it up and put a hat on me, and they're like, oh, we want home mama or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm like, guys, both mamas are the real mama.
Yeah.
Like, I like putting on sequins and standing on stage and striking like a Shakespearean pose and belting out a song. Like, not only do I like it, but it's like molecularly, authentically me.
Yeah.
But then I like putting on a backwards baseball cap, getting covered in fish blood, and going out into the ocean, captaining my own boat. I like hiking and making trails and driving dirt work equipment and splitting wood. That is authentically me. And there isn't one that's more or less me. And if I give one too much attention, the other one starts to wither. Beautiful. Perfect day. Is there some freewheeling watcher shooting marbles in the sky, holding your ears between their fingers, watching it burn till the fire dies?
I get it. I totally get it. Apart from the boat that you're on, there's nothing that you can own out here.
Yeah, you're just out here in the water. That is such an iconic ferry, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
So this all started with a text that I got. It was a lovely morning text where you sent me a note saying, hey, I've made some music. And I didn't know where you were in terms of writing and making music again for yourself.
Yeah.
And you were like, I've finished an album and I'm really proud of it, and I've got this cool idea and we should go fishing and go out on the boat. And it was such a great, wonderful way to wake up and get this message. A, because I knew that there was music, and B, because I knew we'd get a chance to spend some time talking about that music again.
Yeah, like quality time.
I mean, it's a lot to share a record with somebody, you know, and to know it's time to release it and let other people absorb it and feel it. When did you know it was done? When did you know you'd finished this new album?
Well, I knew the album was finished more than I knew that it had started, because I had finished playing the Hollywood Bowl with Joni, and it took up so much of my spiritual space and my mind space, and everything was like, I felt like really emotionally make or break, because I just wanted that to be a pivotal moment for Joni. Like, I wanted that to be the moment that Joni realized the mark that she made on the world and like how positive it was, you know? Because I just never really felt like she really fully grasped that. Even as we did Newport, even as she was given the Kennedy Center honor, even when she won the, you know, the Grammy, like they were all little breadcrumbs like leading to Joni like finally realizing who she was to all of us, you know? It
was an incredibly special and beautifully curated evening. What really struck me was how much care you, and in particular Blake, seemed to really take in terms of arranging and making sure that she felt comfortable really within her songs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and we had to feel comfortable with them, which is like not easy. They're really complex, and the tunings and the textures, and then just like the arrangements are surgical, and it had to be exact, or like she was gonna notice.
Yeah, right.
And every one of those songs, she picked all those songs, and we really just wanted to get it right, to the point where I think it became our every morning, every night, all we were thinking about.
Was there a moment during that process, because you were in this whole era of like creative generosity, I feel like, you know, you were collaborating with artists that you admired, you were enabling experiences like Joni at the Bowl, you were figuring out what this Elton project between the two of you was going to be.
Yeah.
You know, was there even just a small voice inside of you that was like, hey, Brandi, like, what about you?
Starting to be at that point. There was starting to be, to the point where, I don't know if you know this, but the Elton album was supposed to come out the weekend of the Hollywood Bowl. Right. At one point it was going to. and we were gonna do 2 nights at the Forum, and I wasn't even gonna get a night off. It was gonna be like Thursday and Friday at the Forum, Saturday and Sunday at the Hollywood Bowl with Joni Mitchell. It was gonna go back to back, like my 2 heroes, like that.
Yeah.
And when I was building up to that being the case, it became so overwhelming and so all-consuming that this little voice did start to say, okay, you're like not gonna live very long if you keep setting the bar for yourself in these really stressful places. And
you're only human.
Yeah, only human. Also, you're also hiding a little bit. And you're hiding in really high pressure places. It's not like, you know?
It's so funny because this idea, as I said, this idea of collaboration, which makes so many people happy, right? It starts with making you happy and makes the people you work with happy, and then we get to benefit from it. It's beautiful for us. But is it too bold to suggest that after a while, maybe it becomes a coping mechanism away from answering your own questions a little bit?
I think it is an absolute coping mechanism that I have. I've had to like really take a look at that, you know? I've always really rolled my eyes and laughed at the concept of codependence, thinking like, oh, that's all these, you know, 2025 motherfuckers, these self-care people, you know what I mean? Instagrammable.
Right.
This is Instagram psychology. Like, this isn't real life. Like, really, we are meant to be dependent on one another. Like, really, we are meant to be in social circles and live in a constant perpetuation, a cycle of sacrificial love. And then while we're giving, we're gaining. And we don't really know it until retrospect, you know? And I still feel and hold fast really strongly sort of to that belief. And which is like, I've been making a joke, like, well, it takes a village to return to yourself.
Well, this is it. It's like okay, you've only reinforced that belief because you've been through this process of questioning it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what this album is?
Yeah. Questioning it. Questioning my most tender beliefs, the ones that I feel most strongly about. When you question those, that's what faith is in something, is when you believe something so strongly, but you're willing to doubt it for long enough to learn more about what you believe, you know? That's
a huge journey to go on. And I can imagine for somebody, I think the opening line of this lovely note that you shared with us all when you announced the album was coming, said something to the effect of, you know, I've never been entirely comfortable in my own company. Like, it's not my favorite place to be.
No.
And yet I can imagine for someone who has made a commitment to writing songs, which requires some inner reflection, that at times that's a forced uncomfortability, isn't it? I mean, for someone who doesn't want to sit in their own company and yet has to take a guitar or an instrument to find out what they really think or feel, there's a beautiful contradiction in that statement versus the action.
Yeah, because actually the act of learning an instrument is not something you can really do while someone's watching you. The act of writing a song is it can be a co-opted experience, but
still gonna mean something to you.
Yeah, like even when I've written with the Twins or like anybody else, I gotta go off in a corner or I can't get into the room. Like I can't get into the room.
Yeah.
I don't know how people write songs in rooms, you know? Like I think it's like just an incredible skill that I don't have like access to. So I guess what it comes down to for me is knowing how to be, I don't know if it's like the word alone, but feel like an individual no matter who's around, like having people around me and yet still sort of holding on to myself has been more like the journey this time than pushing everybody out and being alone. Like that's just, I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to get with that, you know?
What role does a song like Returning to Myself play in this overall experience? Because it's obviously the title of the album and it feels...
Okay, so at the end of the Hollywood Bowl, I was supposed to go meet Aaron Dessner. I didn't know whether we were gonna be writing songs for someone else or writing songs for me or what we were gonna be doing, but I knew I had never really collaborated with anybody else for my own albums other than the Twins. And so I really underthought it, and I got on a plane the next day after the Hollywood Bowl, like totally hungover, and just emotionally hungover too, because there was a moment where I was sitting on stage with Joni and she was singing Both Sides Now, and I knew it was the last time for me. I knew it was my last time, and I was just heartbroken. I don't even know how to express it, and it wasn't about like leaving Joni. Maybe more it was about leaving that part of myself, you know. So I get on this plane and I go to New York, and I like think I'm gonna land in the city and like go get a hotel, and I land in Buffalo, I think is where I landed.
Yeah.
And I got in a rental car.
Yeah.
And I drove out to this barn, like in the middle of nowhere. I did not know what Long Pond was. I didn't know that exactly where Aaron lived. You know, he's like a man of few words, so he didn't really explain it to me. And I got there and realized within the first few minutes, like, oh God, I have to sleep here. Like, I'm gonna sleep here by myself in this barn. This guy's gonna leave. He's gonna point to the refrigerator and show me where my blueberry muffin is, and then I'm alone in this place.
Yeah.
And I went up.
Fresh from like the most communal, collaborative, wild.
And the whole thing you're there to do is shine a light on Joni.
Yeah.
And it was
Wow,
just
calm down.
really stark to be alone in that barn after that. And I didn't know if I was gonna be able to write any music. I didn't even bring a guitar. I went upstairs to the bedroom and I sat on this bed looking at like a blank wall, and I was so stressed to be that alone. And I wrote the poem for returning to myself. And it was just a poem. It didn't have music or anything yet.
Okay, I gotta get
That was the
granular
beginning
here.
of the album.
At what point do you decide, whilst just staring at the wall, realizing that something is stirring in you and you're not quite sure how to translate, that when do you reach for the pen? When do you reach for that moment where it's like, okay, I've got something to say? Because it must almost feel like an out-of-body experience when those words come out of you, because, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was just like almost rejecting it. Like I was almost feeling like, okay, this is it. This is a noble pursuit. Like me staring at this wall. Like this is what it means to learn to be alone. I guess I'm evolving right now, you know? I don't feel like I'm evolving. I feel like I'm not doing anything at all, but just indulging myself and sitting here on this bed, you know?
So who's the watcher? Are you the watcher watching yourself that opens the album? Like, how does that?
I think I'm basically saying, like, is there really some malevolent entity, like, up in the sky, you know, lighting your life on fire like a piece of paper and just watching it burn and being amused at your long goodbye, you know, it's like, is that what this all really is? Or what, are we really all here with all of these other people to learn to be alone? Is that really the point?
Big question.
And I was really hating it. I was really acidic and just not enjoying that. And so when I wrote Returning to Myself, it wasn't nearly as sweet
It was a
as
protest.
it wound up being.
It
It
was a
was like,
protest song.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's gonna make me be alone, you know?
Yeah. That's so funny.
And then I had to be.
Ah, you were kicking and screaming to the end.
Yeah.
You were kicking and screaming to the end right there.
Yeah, Joni's like, I'm painting. Joni
That's
Groson's like,
so
you need to go to New York.
funny.
I gloss over the means to the end. I need the answers. And,
Yeah.
you know, I'm trying to be better as I get older with not being comfortable with it. And that's kind of like what I love about making albums is like, when we wrote By the Way I Forgive You, it wasn't because we had finally figured out the art of forgiveness. Like we now know what all human life on planet Earth is destined toward, which is forgiveness. And we did not know that. That's why we wrote the album, because we were in the middle of it. We were in the shit, not knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
And,
It's your way out.
and that's where I am right now with the album Returning to Myself. I have not figured it out. I'm gonna figure it out as I sing it and talk to people like you and process this, you know, in real life.
I'm living in a war with time. I can still reach out and touch you, and I wish I didn't know the things I know. We're standing in an open door. None of it was overrated, and I'm never gonna wanna let you go.
So this really was just an excuse to go fishing, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like really did mean it. I was like, Zane, I want to take you fishing. And you're like, oh, she wants to talk about the album. I'm like, no, I want to take you fishing.
Well, bad news. We're going to
You're
talk about
such
the
a good
album.
friend. You're such a good friend to
No,
come
you're
out
the
here
best.
and do this with
No,
me,
you're the
man.
best. I'm
It
loving
means
it.
a lot.
I'm really happy to be here. And as far as, you know, experiences go, getting an opportunity to come out here in the open ocean with you and to see this side of your life. And I feel like this is the life you've been building towards. It's not like, you know, you had some success and was like, okay, let me go figure out what fishing means to me. Like, in a way, the other stuff had to fit into this part of you, right? You never let go of this.
No, this is like a really, really big part of who I am. And I've been fishing and trout fishing like since I was a kid. Actually, when we first started the band, me and the twins, we would get on the bus with fishing poles. And you'd be surprised how much like urban fishing there is.
just like side of the road, get off, there's a lake
Kind
out there,
of.
just, you know.
And the venues kind of like always tend to be like by an urban river or some kind of an urban lake. And like, there's always fish in there, you know, it's catch and release thing. And if you're doing it right, you can kind of be, you know, inflict as little harm as possible on the critter and put it back in there and still like be you and live a life. And it's
That's some cool punk rock shit. Like, it speaks to who you are, even throughout all of the acclaim and success which you continue to achieve through your art and your gift, is that, you know, I think you seem to thrive in being on the outskirts. I don't want to say outsider,
yeah.
because I know that you fit really well in the room as well, but you like looking outside of the bubble, right? It's important to you that you don't get consumed by it.
Yeah. It's really important that you don't believe your own hype. And there are always places that you can go to tune back in.
Yeah.
And people that will hold you accountable and that won't laugh at your jokes and that don't say yes to everything.
These are the people you write about.
Those are people, they're the keepers.
They're all over this album.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating listening to this record for so many reasons, and I'm so glad that we get to talk about it, because it's really strikes me that in the 4 years since we've last spoken, when we spoke on the last project, last album of yours, that you've sort of embraced life as material in a way even more, which isn't a given. Often artists will find a reason to separate the two, or maybe make it a little bit more of a mysterious influence, whereas I feel like you've really accepted who you are as a family person and the life you've built for yourself as open material to write about on this record.
Yeah, I think so. And there takes like some cooperation. Like my oldest doesn't like to be talked about, and I like talking about her on stage. And my youngest really wants to be talked about, so I feel like a pressure to find things to say about her.
Which is oldest and youngest again?
Evangeline's the oldest and Elijah's the youngest. And Elijah is just such an old woman. She just like lives in such a complete way. It's like, it's hard to do anything other than learn from Elijah, you know? She has this thing. And Evangeline, she's just a little more untamed, like just a little wild, you know? And they have these different personalities that you know the two kids thing. It's incredibly like a fulfilling thing. And then my wife, you know, Catherine, I mean, I'm in love with her, and I'm angry with her sometimes, and I really miss her when we're not together. And I struggle with how much I should miss someone, or how close I should be allowed to be to someone before I'm being unhealthy. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if I think it's from like growing up in Alcoholics Anonymous and Al-Anon and Alateen and stuff, is that like, I think you're taught from like a really young age, like that, you know, codependency is a really unhealthy thing. And it's something that I like struggling with.
Even just the concept of love, and you know, we talked about your book last time. We had a proper conversation, and it was clear that you were sort of basking a sense of relief having written that, and come through the other side of that experience, face to face with who you became through your early life. But even just the concept of love, right? Like the idea of being loved is a lot when you go through the kind of life that you and others go through. It's like, hang on, am I going to be able to accept it?
Yeah.
Can I accept it in my life? Can I be a willing participant of this experience?
And I think that I should pay you for therapy, because like you're zeroing in on kind of what it is. It's like, I don't know if I can fully accept love freely or being loved freely without equating it to being dependent upon. And then creating an environment where that is
and then you
dynamic.
become a fixer. Then you become someone who wants to fix everybody, fixing everything, because that's just like, that's how we get love. That's how we get love.
Or work, you know, work for the greater good, like workhorse.
I'm here for you.
I'm a sled dog. I want to pull the sled.
Even in your creative relationships, let's be really honest. I mean, you know, I'm sure Elton and Brandi and Tanya and all these people look to you for you, the artist, and you're like, can I play a role in somehow making all of this special and making it unique? And it's a beautiful curatorial side of you, but it's fascinating to see you come and hear you come face to face with that on this record. I feel like you're really pulling it apart on this record.
Yeah, I'm really pulling it apart on this record. I'm definitely having big existential feelings. This is probably a midlife crisis. Like, you know what I mean? How old are you, Zane?
I'm 52.
You're 52. Are you having one?
I think I had one. My wife will tell you I went through one. I don't know how to define it. I know when I started to come out of it, which was, you know, when I started to look around me and realize that I really wasn't racing anybody or anything anymore. Yeah. Including myself. And I wanted that about you. I wanted kind of what your relationship like is with ambition at this point in your life.
I'm still working that out. But I know that on my 40th birthday, I woke up at a friend's house in Malibu that I was staying with, and I was gonna go home where my family was throwing me a birthday party. And I woke up and I looked out at the ocean and it was like so calm. I just remember thinking, I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. I want to order a burrito from Howdy's, I think it's called, and be here and like look at the ocean all day. And I made a couple phone calls and I didn't go home to like my own birthday party.
Wow.
And I think that was like a really big turning point because I did something, kind of a flippant, dismissive thing that like I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if I'd do it the same way again, but it was like a realization, like, hey, if I do this thing, does this make me an asshole? Does this make me like not who I am? Or does this make me just doing something I want to do today?
Well, also, there's a sliding scale to that answer, right? Because some people will be like, yeah. Like, some people will be like, man, how could you let everyone down like that? But then other people, and the way that you're describing it to me right now on the boat is like, you know, I had to do this for my own sense of like growth. Like, I had to figure out who I am to me and what I want to get out of this rather than what everybody else expects me to do. Which is kind of what being, like, I mean, the whole thing of developing an identity through the lens of kind of performance and expression, right? That you give over some of yourself to people when you achieve your goals. You can't not do that.
Absolutely, like you absolutely do. And that's probably the definition of what it means to be an entertainer. You know, it's like if you are trying to entertain people, make people laugh, make people feel things, make people sing, give people a night out and away from their kids, you get this like inflated sense of self-importance, but it is selfless. It's weird.
It's so weird.
Nothing scares me more than a sneeze. You know, if I sneeze, I am terrified that I'm about to let 5,000 people down because I can't sing with a cold. Like, I can't even sing a little bit with a cold. I just have that kind of voice, you know?
Yeah.
And the thought of canceling those tickets and those babysitters and that night, it's like, I feel like it's gonna like I'm gonna not live very long with that sense of like panic I get about like letting people down en masse, you know? And I have to like find a way to grapple with that at this age and still somehow find a way to be a mom and still find a way to be, you know, a wife.
Well, thanks to everybody, right?
Yeah.
A war with time.
A war with time.
This idea of time.
Yeah.
You know, there's a great lyric when you talk about like, you know, I think it's in A Woman Overseas where you talk about, you know, after 40, you've got to kind of learn everything. You got to figure it out for yourself. You got to start listening.
Yeah, nobody's swimming out to save you after 40. You have to figure it out yourself. You know?
And then you have to become responsible for your time in a different way because you're on the other side of it to some degree. We're heading that way.
Yeah.
Where did that song come from? I love that song, and I wanted to know sort of where you were when it struck you, when it found you.
I was thinking about where you are, honestly. And it can be interpreted many different ways. I've heard it interpreted in some really heartbreaking ways. But I was thinking about, because I was up there with Aaron Dessner, I was thinking about my first trip to New York City, and I hadn't got on a plane until I was 17 years old, which only took me to Boise, Idaho, you know? So it wasn't but a couple of years later, I was on a plane to go to New York City for the first time. And in just any city. I hadn't been anywhere. I'd been to like Los Angeles once and Boise, Idaho, and then boom, Manhattan. So from the Cascade Mountains. And it was like, there were so many twisted and beautiful and inspiring and devastating things about it. I felt like I was tasting the whole world in one city, and I felt so grown up and so separate of my family and our trailer and just like the way that we lived, you know. And I was just thinking that there's that turning point moment like for every young person.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to go, but you want them to go.
Yeah. It's the order of things.
It's the order of things, yeah.
Yeah. Now that you've had some distance from the experience of going over some of the really formative moments in your life, you've written the book and put some of it to music, how is that sort of upbringing, which is unique, you know, how is it reframed, if at all, for you as you're starting to mature and your kids are getting older and everything else? What do you think about when you think about the environment that you grew up in? Like, how do you frame it now?
Well, it's really random, but like my sort of philosophical approach to how I raise my kids versus how I was raised, I've learned from the Chris Rock's latest stand-up routine. There's a lot to it, but
Valid.
I saw him. I went out and saw him, and I just think he's like amazing.
Yeah.
But you know, the gist of it is that you can't artificially create poverty. You can't create a struggle that isn't there. All you can do is accept that everyone is going to have their own struggle.
Yeah.
And you know, it's hard to raise kids in an environment I don't understand. Like, I don't understand not worrying about being poor and not worrying about where my next meal is going to come from. You know, I don't understand how to raise kids that didn't grow up with smokers in a single wide mobile home wondering if they stunk when they went to school every day.
Yeah.
But that was an incredible character building for me, you know, because I still got up in front of the classroom and sang every chance I got. I still took really big risks because I just sort of understood at a really young age that we're all walking around out here inside out. We're all naked. And it's like, if you can lose that sense of self, if you can lose that sense of veneer at a really young age, it's like getting chickenpox or like getting your heart broke or like learning to ski. It's not something that is acceptable as an adult. It's better if you like learn it as a kid. So I guess I got to find like artificial ways to help my kids develop character. I mean, one is that they have gay parents and that they're living in a country right now that's hostile to that. Not holistically, but there are parts of it that are that way. The other one is that they have had a lot of inconsistency in their lives because my wife and I work together and we want to be together, and so we have to take these kids all over the place. And so they've had to miss out on some things that I think that they're going to probably be pretty mad at me about when they grow up, you know, like the ability to be on a soccer team or function within one school for a year without falling behind.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their own sense of adversity. But my childhood and the way I was raised is inapplicable to my girls, and it's not better. That sense of narcissism that like whatever we had made better people, it's just us like maybe feeling ourselves a little too much.
There's a beautiful song on an album called Human, which I think is a conversation with yourself, but it really speaks for all of us, which is this idea of like, why do we make it so hard for ourselves to just be? To just literally keep it uncomplicated? Why are we looking for devastation all around us or predicting that it's all going to go bad? And everybody does it.
Yeah.
Right? It's some weird wiring that we have where we're just never too far away from something catastrophic, right? I don't know if it serves to keep us present or removes us from the present. Sometimes it's a bit of both.
Well, I guess it might probably depends on how we age and how we sort of look at it. But you're right. Like, I do feel that every generation since recorded history believes that their generation is the one living through the end of the world.
Yeah.
I think that's really comforting. And we all see our conflicts and our wars and our political upheavals and tyranny and democracy in constant balance, you know?
We're in a loop.
We're in a loop, and the loop is the loop of humanity. And don't be apathetic, don't ignore it, don't look away, do fight, do be an activist, do get out of bed every morning and think about how you can serve humanity, but also touch grass. Like, also realize that you're here for a split second and that you don't want to look back and realize you missed the whole thing because you believed you were living through the end of the world.
Okay, so let's remove the end of the world and take a look at the world you create for yourself and the work ethic that you build for yourself in order to stay active and to cope.
Yeah.
And let's put you in that song.
Yeah.
And are you having a conversation with yourself in that song when you say, you know, don't break your back? They don't give awards for that.
You know I like awards.
I know you do.
I mean, I don't know how to contend with the fact that I like awards and rewards as much as I do, but yeah, I'm like a golden retriever with a soccer ball. Like, you can't get my teeth off something when I'm into it. And so yeah, I'm very much talking to myself and trying to remind myself that I have like a split second to be alive on this planet. And
Is Catherine laughing at you, or is she encouraging you? Because I say that out of love, because the people who know us the best look at us as we struggle through some of these like self-reflections, and they know deep down, like, Brandi, like, you are as God made you know what I mean? Like,
no, dude, she's got to figure it out too, you know?
Yeah.
I think that that's where we're at right now. The people that are in the middle of life, like, we have to figure it out. We know we're at the turning point.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, how are we going to do the second half?
Yeah. Great conversation.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Super great
want to
conversation.
pretend to be or feel any younger than I am. Like, I've already wasted enough time on that. Like, I think the question that like everybody should be asking themselves after they've done their work at the end of the day, is like, what makes you happy? I know that sounds really neoliberal, but it's not. It's like literally, what do you like to eat? What makes you laugh? Who's your favorite comedian? Who's your favorite musician? Where have you always wanted to go? And is there something you've ever wanted to learn to do?
says, page number 1, sentence number 1 is, what do you like?
What do you like? Most people say, I don't know. Especially if they've worked really hard. Or been really stressed.
So there's no imposter syndrome here?
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, dude. There is.
Yeah.
There is. I'm just like everybody else. I think everything that I achieve is a fluke.
Wild. So there you are, meeting and working with your heroes at the closest level, achieving things and having experiences that young Brandi Carlile could never have imagined were going to happen. I mean, the power of manifestation in full display here, right? And can you really enjoy it? Can you allow yourself the space to enjoy it? Do you get to a place where you're like, yes, I'm in the studio with Elton, we're banging out this tune, I can dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when, I think I learned that, like, around the By the Way I Forgive You album, where I was like, I would get so stressed and so scared for big things.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh, I really enjoyed that, but I don't know until now that it's all over and I'm looking back on it, that actually that was an amazing day. Why couldn't I just be there? Like, couldn't I just slow down, know it was gonna be okay, and like experience that day? So around the time that cool shit started happening with that album, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be here for this. Like, and I remember walking out on stage for the Grammy performance, the one that kind of changed really everything. Dude, there was something so workmanlike about it, like plugging in my acoustic guitar, standing on stage behind like a video wall with my band, looking around at my literal bar band and being like, okay, let's be here. Let's like be here for the next 4 minutes. We know exactly what to do. It'll probably never happen again. And the way I like enjoyed that performance, I enjoyed it. And I took that forward with me. And now that's just how I do everything. I have so enjoyed working with those heroes, and I haven't missed a second from Fear.
When we spoke after I listened to the album, and there's a song in the middle of the album, smack dab in the middle of the album, or just after, probably the start of side 2 if we're talking vinyl, which is called Church and State.
Oh yeah.
You, Watt, the Watt All-Stars, so Klinghoffer must be involved in that.
The what, All-Stars?
Yeah, is it Chamberlain or is it Smith?
That's Matt Chamberlain. Yeah, that was a long night.
Yeah, you got some real players, and you honor the weight of the subject with the power of the music. So I'd love to know about that composition. And you talked about it being a long night. What was it?
Well, that song is unlike the rest of the album, because the rest of the album is really, really thought about.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not instinctual, it's just that was like a jam. We were set up like to jam. And that song was really carnal. And we were like set up to jam. We were in a circle, it was like rock and roll time, and it was November 5th. It was the night of the election.
Okay, did you plan to write a song on November 5th? Did you plan to rock out on November 5th? Did you know what you were doing, or was it a pure reactionary?
No, I went to the studio, laptop open, spiraling, just like not doing great emotionally. And I mean, I kind of knew what was coming. I had written Human the night before.
Right.
And, it was like a primal cry for self-preservation in a way, but not just for me, like for everybody, I was having a conversation recently with my kids, both kids and Catherine. We were at the dinner table, very American, and my really serious older daughter, she said, and she's 11, and she had overheard us talking about whether or not the Supreme Court was going to hear the case that could overturn Obergefell. Mm-hmm. And she'd just been overhearing it. And that's the one thing about having kids, right? Is like they overhear shit.
Everything.
And you're not sure.
Everything.
Yeah. I've been talking about that for years. And in 2016, I started really talking about it. When Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, I started really talking about it. And it became a real possibility. When Roe got overturned, I was like, fucking hell. Yep. So I've been talking about it for a long time. So my daughter, like out of nowhere, she says, hey, Mama, if she's trying to make light of it, she goes, hey, if the Supreme Court gets rid of gay marriage, she goes, hey, we can just get on your boat, and she literally says, bebop on up to Canada, right?
Bebop up to Canada.
And I was like, yeah, what? The Canada's right there. But we don't got to go to Canada if that happens, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
Yeah. And what an interesting crossroads to be at with a child too, because on the one hand they want safety and security, but on the other hand it's like, yeah, but we don't cut and run. So where's the balance of learning?
But it gets weirder because then she goes, but then Elijah, my youngest, she chimes in and she starts to get weepy and she goes, Mommy and Mama, I don't want to go up to Canada. And we were like on the edge of laughing. We didn't know what this was all about. And then Evangeline looks at Elijah with like all of this intensity and she goes, it's better than not having a mommy or a mama. And I realized for years she's believed that this orphans her.
Yeah, fight or flight.
This means she doesn't have parents.
Yeah, it's a survival.
Yeah, and you can't impose that kind of pain on a kid, you know. And it's self-inflicted. I did it, but it's the country I live in.
No. Hang on. But you're not the one that's questioning this law and finding out whether or not we go backwards.
Yeah, really go backwards. I just wish I'd finished explaining it. I wish I'd told her that it didn't mean that she was not gonna have parents, you know?
Yeah.
So like knowing that she'd been like quietly carrying that around, it made me so mad.
Yeah, it's tough.
And when I sing Church and State, it's like a rock song, but it's the one I'm probably most on the edge about.
You said something before at the beginning of the day that, you know, working with Aaron, it's like one of, if not the first time you've really collaborated with anyone in your music outside of with the twins.
Yeah.
Obviously you worked with Watt, so you had some experience working on other people's music and in that space, but different for you in your own zone. And you also extended it out to his friend, Justin.
Yeah.
Justin Vernon, who is like the sweetest.
Well, he did, because I idolize him.
It was for reals.
This guy, like, he has such a incredible penchant for some of my favorite women in music, like his all-time greatest favorite artist, Bonnie Raitt, major hero for me, obviously. Same. We know that.
Same.
And then he's like a massive Indigo Girls fan. I think Indigo Girls are like so underserved and underrated as like just groundbreaking artists, not just queer artists, not just women, but just artists in general. Like no one sounds like the Indigo Girls. No one has ever been able to pull that off.
So what's it like being in the room with him when you get to actually collaborate with him? Because obviously Aaron brought him in, and so you're like, oh shit, this is turning into something even more special than I thought. So what was that experience like?
Well, we were finishing each other's sentences. Musically, and then just like talking. He's got Indigo Girls lyrics like tattooed on his body, you know, like he is a really special artist. And Aaron, you know, he had an intuition about it. He could hear in my voice how much I idolize Justin and how much I love those Bon Iver albums and everything that he's done, including with Aaron and Big Red Machine. And I think that, you know, he brought him to kind of visit me, and like it was gonna make my day just to have him there. But when he turned up, he was wearing an Emmylou Harris t-shirt. And
did he know the impact that album had on this? Oh, wow.
He did not know the way that Wrecking Ball.
He's tapped in.
Oh, we're on. We're on. Yeah, neutral. Okay.
All right.
Keep that tension on there. Yep. Just don't let that go because it's a barbless. All right. Yeah. Looks like he's gonna come around that way. Try and train your pole this way. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get in front of you. If he really won't listen and he's gotta go that way, you can go that way too. Yeah, you got a nice fish on there. Yeah, dude, you're about to catch a salmon.
Yeah, love it.
Yes. Okay.
So you got him?
Almost. Right in.
Wow. Decent size.
Woo!
What's up, buddy? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
I don't see a back fence, so he's a keeper. You got a salmon. We honor the sacrifice, and we're gonna have a beautiful lunch out here. Beautiful coho salmon. He's beautiful.
He's beautiful.
All right, just gonna get good spot. Stop panning. There's fish all over the screen. We're really headed right into it right now.
We're going for it.
When you were resetting the boat just then, it's really interesting. You were talking about kind of the relationship that your music has with the people who really appreciate it the most. Because often you release music out into the world and it's like, you never know until you stand in front of people.
Yeah.
But I think you seem to have more of an acute knowledge as to what people get from your songs and where they are in their life to some degree. And it comes back to that place of just being on the outskirts a little bit and looking for community, right?
Looking for a community. Yeah, I can see them from on stage, so I feel like I know who they are.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of gay people, like a lot of gay people, which makes me feel like less alone and kind of understood in a way. You know, there's a lot of what compels me to make music that comes from that difference in who I am. You know, but the other thing is that when I first started doing this job, like I played residencies in restaurants a lot. And the thing about like restaurant residencies is it's not like the music people, like it's not the cool people going out to like concerts, you know, like that start at midnight or, oh, we're on.
Now I'm gonna watch the pro do it.
Neutral! I don't know, we might not be on anymore, let's find out. We either got a little shaker or he's swimming towards us. Or I'm not as good as Zane and he popped off. Oh, I'm not as good as Zane, we lost him.
You just want me to
All right,
step
kick
in,
it back
just say
into
the
gear
word.
tone. I got the flasher hanging, I'll reset the heading.
Okay. So just to be clear, so far I'm the only one that's caught a fish today.
So far, you're
Okay,
the
just
only
checking.
damn one.
Just making sure, just making sure.
So what I was saying before that salmon rudely interrupted us.
Or lack of salmon is the
Yeah.
case maybe.
Okay, well, he was there and then he wasn't. I was the only one to touch the pool, so.
I'm just keeping it a buck, that's all.
If I don't get one, I swear to God, sane. Is that I used to do restaurant residencies, and restaurant residency, like restaurant people are different than concert people. Restaurant people are different than even club people or bar people. Like there's a whole other reason for doing what they're doing. And so I would do these like 3-hour sets, 15-minute breaks for food and money at like places all over Seattle, like Salty's on Alki, Bill Medine's Ravioli Station, the Dubliner Irish Pub, the Paragon Bar and Grill, these places all over Seattle. And it would be like literally my Monday gig, my Tuesday gig, my Wednesday gig. And in the day, I would be busking at Pike Place. So again, regular people, regular people, regular people. And not that music fans aren't regular people, but there's something about finding a person with music that isn't going to experience music, like that they're going to experience chicken instead. And there's like an element of that like still in me where it's like, yeah, well, you know, I know where that looks pretty promising. Let's see if we can bust it off the downrigger here. Neutral?
Oh yeah.
That's a good fish.
Thank
This is a really nice fish. I'm gonna try and walk it right into the net.
So right here?
And you're gonna go kind of like underneath it and
Yep.
scoop up.
Yep. Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh yeah. Wow.
Ah,
All right. All right. I'm
he's
gonna
still
get
on
this
there?
sucker.
Okay, right
I'm gonna get
underneath
this
it,
thing.
Zane.
Right, yeah, I got
And
it.
scoop. You got it!
Got that.
Woo!
All right, buddy.
Nice job. We got it back then. Okay, we're gonna release this one.
Great.
So we're gonna be extra careful.
Yep. Back in.
Yep, I'm gonna do it.
You got it.
Oh God,
All right, buddy.
don't got any blood.
Another
We're-
day.
We're in a good situation here. Just like that. Yeah, this is going good.
Good
All right.
job, dude.
I'm gonna get us set back up. Okay, so I'm playing in restaurants, and you know, in my breaks, I sit down at the table with people, and I get their phone number, you know, and their email address, which was a new thing in the '90s.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
and then I would gather up all these people during the week in my residencies, and then once a month I would play a big show. And by big, I mean like the Tractor Tavern or the Crocodile or some iconic Seattle like place. And then instead of like the Tractor Tavern people or the Crocodile people, it was like the restaurant people would just come and fill this concert hall. And it wasn't hipsters. It was Chatterhouse people. And we would have like the best time, and it would be like such a party. And the record labels and people started taking notice because they're like, first of all, how is she filling all these clubs? And who are these people? And like, what is this? To a certain extent, that is kind of like what my career's developed into. Is I've gone into a lot of really small towns. I've gone into a lot of really off the beaten path places, and I've engaged people on a personal level. And I feel privileged to be pretty accessible too, you know? And I want to be known and seen on a level of just kind of being a normal person with like a normal family, because I think it's good for LGBTQ people and rights moving forward, for people to see the relatability of my family to yours. But also it's it's great musically because have found people to do life with that are just really open to my changes musically because they're just a little different. They're just a little off the beaten path.
And no one knew that when they were sitting there eating the chicken.
No,
They didn't know any of this.
No, man.
So you caught people in the purest space.
Yeah.
With the purest reaction to what you were doing, and you made a connection.
Yeah.
That's your whole fan base, right? That's the beginning of your whole fan base right there. They're the most loyal fans you ever had.
And they get the t-shirt and they get on the plane, and then also they get behind the cause. If we decide to campaign for something or fundraise for an earthquake or displaced people or food scarcity problems, we get on board together. These like alliances. This is how we create movements. This is how we change shit. This is how we don't become disenfranchised. I mean, I love the outlaw movement, but again, what is it to be alone? Like, really?
You've got a song on the album called Human. You're trying to find a way for people to cut themselves a little bit of slack in all of this, because otherwise, how do we survive it? And yet, you're on the front lines of the human experience every night you play a show.
Yeah.
People from all different walks of life and all different social and political
I see people out there
leanings.
crying and stuff. That's like, when you see people out there crying, it's so hard to keep it together.
Yeah.
Because it's like a cough or a sneeze. Like, it's such a human experience to want to
join.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's like somebody's out there crying to you without me, I'm like, don't do it, don't lose it, don't go. Your voice is gonna get really ugly if you cry right now.
What have you learned since you've been writing songs that appeal to people? You've written enough songs and done enough shows to be able to probably have a pretty good snapshot of what the experience is, what the human experience is. What are people really looking for from your position as a writer and a performer?
Well, I think that most people really just want to be understood, and you can be understood from a song. A song can come across in such a way, or the singer can be singing it in such a way with the look on their face to where you feel understood by that song and in that moment. And it can happen in mass to 10,000 people at a concert. I've seen it. And that's when we get like, we have swarm intelligence. You ever seen like bees just, or birds, you know? Like, people do that in concerts with emotions. And I think that's probably my addiction. That's the thing that I'm showing up every single time for, is to try to feel like I'm in that swarm of emotional intelligence and connectedness.
Do you ever feel pressure to show up because you're such an honest writer, and just your very existence, who you are, who you were born to be, and how you choose to live your life, the choices you make and the people that you've built a life with? Do you ever feel sometimes there's a responsibility that you're not even necessarily ready to undertake in order to speak for people or to stand up for things?
Yeah, absolutely. But most people don't notice that. And I get called into these situations that I'm like not ready for all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like not ready to speak on, not ready to have an opinion on yet, you know? And then you like have to open your mouth because you're standing on stage, and it's like, dude, I'm a singer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am a high school dropout. I'm trailer trash. And like, I may get an answer right now and then, but I think that like the key, and the older I get, the more I realize this, is just opening, like letting your heart just be open to being wrong, and knowing that everybody is heartbroken, everybody is shattered, everybody is saying the wrong thing and maybe even thinking the wrong thing for a little while. And my job is to open my mouth and let words come out. And they're not always gonna nail it. And sometimes, that pressure to have perspective is just not fair. And it's not fair on other artists either.
It's not fair on the people who expect it either, because it should be a genuine, willing participation. It shouldn't be something that feels like it's a trait.
I had to play in LA the day that Roe was overturned. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't, and I can only guess how hard that was.
And there are other ones too. It's like mass shootings, and you're walking out on stage 6 hours later.
Yeah.
You know, huge pieces of political unrest, lost elections, you know, and then you're on stage and everybody's like, what are they going to say about the thing? Knowing what to say is really, really hard. And I don't think anybody gets it more than 30% right.
But in that 30% is truth.
There's truth in it. Yeah, and it's an evolving truth. You know, everybody else in the audience, like, their truth is evolving too.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced writer's block?
So I don't know if I believe in writer's block, but I do go long periods of time where I don't write, where writing just doesn't happen to me. like years sometimes, like a year or 2 years.
What's your energy like when that's happening?
It's really focused on something else, like this. Or I love finished carpentry, and I like driving stuff. I like driving RVs and dirt work machines, excavators and skid steers and tractors and stuff like that. And I really like cooking, and I grow tomatoes. So like whatever it is, I'm putting all this fire hose of kind of like untamable energy and focus into like something. And then those songs don't get written in that time. So I don't look at it as like I have writer's block. I look at it as like, well, my creative spirit is on this right now.
Is there a song on the album, think of maybe like No One Knows Us, which feels like a safe place for you?
No One Knows Us, I would think, like if I really think about it in terms of like safety or feeling safe or being in a safe place, it's more of nostalgia for not having any safe place and feeling safe anyway. And it's about like these relationships that are just like right on the edge of okay. You know what I mean? And they're always the best ones. Those are the people that maybe you don't see them very often, but when you see them, you're like, you're back.
Yeah.
These dysfunctional relationships that are just right on the edge of like taking you down, you know? Where
You still yearn for those? That's still a part of the life experience?
I still have them. You can't make old friends.
Facts.
I have had the same phone number since they came out with Nokia phones.
Really?
Like, I've had the same phone number since I was like 18, like
Wow.
since you and I, before that I had a pager. And all those people, like I cannot let them go. Like I will never let that go.
Who's the oldest friend you have? How long have you known the oldest friend you have?
The oldest friend I have, I mean, I have to say is, you know, probably my brother, who's, you know,
A life?
my best friend. But it was hard because we moved. You know, we moved like 14 times.
Yeah.
I didn't go to one school
We're on?
2 years in a row. We're on.
Ron?
This is such a great way to have
Yeah, I'm
conversations.
loving it. Can I get in on this one?
Dude, you got to get in on this one. If you catch two, though, you're going to drink.
Right.
I think something else happened. Are we in the shallows, Tone?
Nope.
Well, we're off. So I don't think there was a fish on this. Yeah, see it popping up like that?
Yeah.
That's the flasher just
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
up. Well, we got kelp. All right.
I'll let you bring that in.
Will you dekelpify? We got a salad. We got our salad. Are we going over it right now? The spot. Okay.
Wow, you have some pretty amazing instincts for this shit, Brandi. You speak the language before you even knew how, right? That's pretty clear.
Finding ways to get people on fish is like, dude, that's my happy place.
Where do you go from here, Brandi? Like, you've made this album, and it's not that you haven't been active. You've been applying yourself in so many different ways. But do you sort of miss, for lack of a better term, the more traditional cycle of putting a record out, going on the road? Do you want to do a world tour? Do you want to do all this?
I do miss things, the simplicity in that, like the things about it that were really simple back then. I was so funny. I was just at Red Rocks. I did 3 nights at Red Rocks, and like I woke up in the morning and I ordered a coffee and I signed art cards, you know.
You went to work.
It's just me in my hands and this coffee, and then tonight I'm gonna play a show, and that's fucking simple, and I know how to do it.
Yeah.
And it felt so good, it made me want to get back on the road in ways that like I have not wanted to get back on the road like that in a really long time.
Yeah, I haven't seen a laminate around your neck that says world tour for a long time.
I feel off the road. I feel out of practice. Like I'm gonna have to rediscover it and get in shape. And I want that. I want that now. Yeah, I'm ready. I want to do this version of myself on stage and see what that actually looks and feels like. And I want to play this music. God, I want to play this music so bad.
What song do you want to play the most? And let's put Church and State to one side, because that obviously is going to take off into outer space.
Oh, well, I did that one. I did that one at Red Rocks, and
How was
I
it?
fought tears. I fought tears so hard. When I'm reading the Thomas
speech.
Jefferson's connotation on the First Amendment,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about the separation of church and state, and everybody slowly stands up, like their bodies, like they're brought to their feet, because the power of those words and the power of the First Amendment. And it's like you're yelling and you're angry, but you are fighting tears. Like it is like big tears, big lump right here. And I loved how that felt. So church and state is a big one. Human though, I want to do some wailing. I want to.
It's wailing.
Like I just want to do the
wailing at the
Bono.
end.
Like
It's
I want to go
wailing.
full Bono. But then, you know, moments like Taking You Without Me and connecting it to the mother and making that a medley,
Yeah.
a chronological medley of parenting.
Oh, you're in it.
I'm in it, dude. Like, I'm feeling
I'm
this.
excited.
I'm feeling this tour. And
You're
this
in
album.
it. I always think that must be the most beautiful places. If you're willing and able and you want to go out and you want to bring the
Yeah.
music to the people and you're like, okay, from the age of whatever, 40 to 42 or whatever age it's going to be,
Yeah.
I'm dedicating myself to this communal experience. Then you get to create it. You get to do the music
Yeah.
direction of it and put it all together. That's got to be almost the most fun part away from the pressure of writing the songs and delivering on the songs.
It's so fun. That alchemy of like the rehearsal leading up to the gigs, it's huge. When you're flipping through the sound banks on the keyboard.
Yeah, figuring it out.
Yeah, and you're like, that's the sound, and you're messing with the amps and you're trying different guitars and you're like, well, should I walk the stage this way or should I walk the stage this way? All of these things as that like go into the sort of the batch, the alchemy of the show. It's like, I love that shit. And I like having fans come and watch that happen too.
Yeah.
It's almost like what are the sports teams, they have like the springtime training. Like having people come in and watch what the work you put into it and the time and effort that you put into that is like a huge part of the deal for me.
How's your spirit now you finished this record? What do you think you learned about yourself, returning to yourself, if only to realize that you're totally fine being in service to others as well as living your life?
I am comfortable with that now. I think I'm comfortable with that as long as I'm not tricking myself into believing that I'm essential to anyone else.
But isn't that the narcissism or the delusion that is required in order to step out on a stage and walk a certain way?
I don't know. I hope not. Like, what if I get on stage and the magic's gone?
That's what I'm saying. If
like,
you untangle it so much, then you walk out, it's like, wait, I'm totally faking this shit. Like, I'm not essential to anybody.
Exactly.
Sorry, guys, existential crisis. Show's over.
Yeah.
Get your money back.
Yeah, I better get better at fishing.
But isn't that the balance between searching within and what really matters to you, but also realizing that some of this is invented and some of this should be. I don't ever feel like David Bowie ever truly untangled his identity when he was being David Bowie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. After Silent Days, and like when I kind of like doubled down and like super immersed in Joni's recovery and work, I was like, I need to kill Ziggy Stardust. I need to kill Ziggy Stardust. I need to get rid of the swoop in the hair. I know more sparkly suits. I gotta kill Ziggy Stardust. It was great, but like, I need to do something else. I don't even know what. I'm just like crawling out of my skin with just the discomfort of the character of that. And so the David Bowie thing, it's really interesting, because he did find ways to reinvent himself as an artist over and over and over again. And he produced other artists, and he, disappeared into character several times, and both in the way he looked and, he always had a Shakespearean presence on stage and a big voice and a grandiosity, but then he could also break your heart. And then here I am thinking, like, I want to kill Ziggy Stardust, and then I get in the studio with Andrew, and he's like, we need to make a David Bowie album.
Right.
And I was just like, no.
Right.
And then he's like, okay, Fleetwood Mac. And then he was like, he was just Tom Petty, he was just trying to like figure me out. And I was like, dude, I have not figured me out. So I don't know. Furthermore, I have no songs. I had no songs, and they kept trying to write riffs, and like, I kept trying to write to their riffs, and everything was just coming out wrong. I just couldn't get anything right until I really honed in. That sounds really counterintuitive for me to say this, but until I like really honed in on myself in a brand new way, And I even, I told the twins, I'm like, you guys might sit here all day. You may never touch an instrument today or tomorrow or the next day. And I don't know, actually, if we're going to write this song together, this might just be me this time, And there's like, what can you say about them? They're like a masterclass in self-assuredness and support.
Well, they love you.
As a foundation, and I love them.
It ain't just about like, we jam out and we write great songs and we live a great life. It's like, you all live close to each other and you've built a family, and if you never wrote another song again, nothing's going to change there.
No, nothing could change that. You're right. And some of the albums have been really twin focused. Like, we've had really twinny albums before.
Yeah.
We've had albums where like I've gone days without going into the studio. and they're just cooking in there, you know? And then I show up and sing. But this was not that album. This was really a me-centric album, you know? And they're just thrilled with it. They think it's our best album.
And you?
Oh, I think so. I think so. And even if it's not, I've never cared less. I care what people think, but not enough to change one note or word on this album.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's like that's a whole new place right there.
That's
very new.
There's a song at the end of the album which, as you listen to it for the first time, and people will listen to it start to finish as it is designed, you'll realize as you get closer and closer that you're coming to this goodbye, both literally in writing and also the end of the record. And it's almost a driving reminder that life is precious, you know, and that we need to acknowledge goodbye way sooner than we really do, is what I took from it.
Yeah, so we can start living.
Right.
Like if we know that it really
it's all
is just,
finite.
Yeah.
How was it to write?
It was really beautiful, really cathartic. It was like writing a memoir that was 3.5 minutes long. I don't know. I think what it comes down to is having a lot of old friends. And it's like, there's something about being able to sort of see the end of the road that makes it so that you can settle into the middle of it a little bit easier. And, you know, my grandpa used to say, don't sweat the small stuff. And not everybody's like us. And he had all these little sayings and these little anecdotes that were morsels of like life wisdom that I'm only really just starting to understand.
Yeah.
And I know that life being a long goodbye is like a sad thing, but like really what I'm saying in the song is I'm kind of like going through these chapters of life, like a chapter of discovery, a chapter of chaos and self-destruction, a chapter of long suffering and long-standing love and the kind that you fight for every day. And then I am lightening it at the end in a way that I keep trying to do on this album, where I'm saying, all of these things are true. All of these things are heavy. They're not insurmountable, but they feel that way when you're standing in front of a mountain. But just know that anything could change. Anything could change at any moment. So whatever it is, let it go. Keep it light. Let it snow. Let the wind blow all night. It's only life after all. You know, we're only human.
Beautiful writing.
And it's like, life is serious, and there's a lot in life to struggle against, and we need that friction in these meat suits. But like, at the end of the day, we have to find a way to be here with each other and be happy and know that it ends.
It ends. It all comes to an end. Has being around people at the other end of their life, getting to work with artists who've lived some more life at this point, bring you in so close. Did it change the way that you felt when you were making this record in terms of just the overarching kind of importance of it? Like, this is a very important album for right now, but it's another step in many steps you will take across your life, right? Creating and expressing yourself.
Yeah. I think being with and working with the older artists that, you know, you're alluding to and referring to, it made me want to fight for the second half of my life.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Yeah.
It made me want to fight to be my age.